Turning your creative ideas into actual products you can sell, like cool t-shirts or eye-catching posters.
Hmm.
But without needing a garage full of unsold stuff, forget those wild online promises of, Lamborghinis overnight.
Yeah, exactly.
We're taking a real no-hype look at print on demand today. And the cool thing is, getting started is surprisingly easy. You only pay for the product once someone actually buys it. Pretty smart setup, right?
It really is. Print on demand or POD. It fundamentally changes the traditional retail model.
How so?
Well, instead of you investing heavily in a bunch of inventory that, might just sit there,
Right, the big risk.
you team up with a service. They print your designs on products only when a customer orders. Then they handle everything printing, shipping straight to the buyer.
Oh, okay.
So it cuts down that financial risk significantly. It gives you a ton of flexibility. And like you said, it's way beyond just t-shirts now. Mugs, wall art, even cushions, bags, all sorts of stuff.
Exactly. And this isn't some tiny little niche we're talking about here.
No, not at all.
The global market for print on demand, it's currently valued at close to $6 billion.
Billion with a B.
And the projections. They're saying it could skyrocket to around 40 billion by 2031.
Wow.
Oh,
That's massive growth potential.
it really is. So that kind of growth suggests a pretty huge opportunity for anyone thinking about jumping in, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Stepping into a market with that kind of upward trend, it definitely gives you a leg up. But, like any business,
It's not guaranteed.
not at all. Just because the opportunity's there doesn't mean success is automatic. Our source material really boils it down to 5 key things you absolutely need to get right.
Okay, let's break those down. What are the must-haves?
Okay, number 1,
Hmm.
a winning product. Super important. Second, you need a great design people actually want on that product.
Makes sense.
Third, a place to sell it online. Fourth, a really reliable POD supplier who delivers quality.
Right. You don't want bad prints going out.
Definitely not. And fifth, maybe the most crucial bit, paying customers. People willing to actually buy what you're offering.
So the whole point of this deep dive, based on the info we've got, is basically to walk you through the essential steps. How do you launch your own print-on-demand business?
Exactly. A step-by-step guide for beginners.
So let's tackle that first piece. How do you actually find a winning product? Why is it the starting point?
Well, getting the product right from the outset is it's foundational. It really can be the difference between a business that takes off and one that just, well, fizzles out.
Okay.
Our source emphasizes that a winning product comes down to 2 things: the type of product you choose and the design you put on it.
And the advice we're seeing is pretty clear. Don't try to do everything at once.
Exactly. Don't offer every single product type right away. The recommendation is to really focus, like laser focus, on one specific product category when you start.
Just one.
Yeah, the idea is become a master of that one thing first. Get really good at it. The source even mentions aiming for maybe $10 K a month with that one product type before you even think about adding others.
Okay, so master one, then expand. Makes sense. You don't want to spread yourself too thin.
Precisely. It lets you really understand your audience for that product, refine your designs, much more effective.
What about things like, say, color options? Is there a magic number?
The advice is to keep it fairly limited, maybe around 7 variations.
Only 7. Why is that?
Well, offering too many choices can actually overwhelm people. It's called analysis paralysis.
Ah, right. Too many options, so they just don't choose anything.
Exactly. They click away. So a curated selection is often better for conversions.
Okay, so focused product, limited colors. Got it. Now, are there any product types beginners should maybe steer clear of?
Yeah, a few are highlighted. Things like cards and calendars, they tend to be super seasonal.
Right, big spike at Christmas, then tumbleweeds.
Pretty much. Makes consistent income tricky. Also, mugs, iPhone cases, basic stationery. They often have lower profit margins generally.
Lower margin, so you have to sell loads to make decent money.
Yeah, typically you need really high volume compared to other categories. It's possible, but harder work for the same profit.
But hold on, didn't our source mention a successful Etsy mug shop making decent revenue?
It did, yeah. There's an example of a top mug shop doing around $30 K a month in revenue, which sounds amazing.
It does.
But even with a decent margin, say 15 to 30%, the actual profit you take home might not be as high as you could get with clothing or wall art, where the perceived value can be higher.
Ah, okay. Which leads us to the categories that do have higher potential. according to the source?
Clothing and wall art. Those are the two specifically mentioned as having the best potential for better profit margins.
And why is that?
The thinking is it's often easier to build up the perceived value with these. Think unique t-shirt designs, limited edition prints.
Right. It feels more like a statement piece or art, not just a functional item.
Exactly. It's seen as personal expression maybe, which can justify a higher price tag compared to the base cost.
And we even got a real-world profit breakdown with wall art, using Gelato as the supplier.
We did. It's a good illustration. Selling price, $49.32.
Okay.
Total cost product, print, shipping came out to $32.32.
Right.
After potential fees, the profit was $12.42. That's a 25% margin.
Huh. So nearly $50 selling price, but only $12 profit.
Yeah, it really shows how those costs add up quickly and can eat into your earnings if you're not watching them closely.
Okay. So for this deep dive, let's switch focus then. We'll use clothing as our main example from here on.
Sounds good. Clothing's a great category to explore.
Now, once we've picked clothing, the next big step is design. Because plain, blank t-shirts aren't exactly going to fly off the shelves, are they?
Definitely not. This is where your creativity needs to kick in. The key is tapping into customer interests, their passions.
Finding a niche.
Exactly. Taking that blank t-shirt and adding something that resonates with a specific group. Not just generic cats, but maybe, t-shirts for people who love Siamese cats specifically.
Right. Niche down. Now, a really big warning right up front. Trademarks. You got to be super careful here.
Oh, absolutely critical. Can't stress this enough. You can't just grab any popular phrase, logo, character.
Like Stormpooper for Star Wars fans. Bad idea.
Very bad idea. That's asking for legal trouble, cease and desist letters, maybe worse. Using registered trademarks is a huge no-no.
Okay. And thankfully, checking for trademarks isn't actually that hard.
Not at all. In the UK and US, there are official databases. The source mentions the USPTO in the States, the Patent and Trademark Office.
USPTO. Got it.
They have a basic word mark search online. You just type in your phrase, set the filter to live trademarks, and see if it's protected.
Simple enough. The example was checking, boomers are awesome, and it came back clear.
Exactly. A quick check can save you a world of pain later.
Okay, so definitely avoid trademark trouble. But here's something that might surprise people. The advice on originality. It's not about inventing something totally new from scratch.
That's right. The source actually pushes back against the idea you need to be 100% original. It even mentions that book, Steal Like an Artist.
Ah, yeah, I know that one. Good artists copy, great artists steal.
Kind of. The point isn't plagiarism, obviously. It's that trying too hard to be radically original is a common beginner mistake. You can end up making something nobody connects with.
So if total originality isn't the goal, what should we focus on for design?
Market research. It's absolutely key. You need to see what's already selling well in your chosen niche.
And Etsy is good for this, because you can see reviews.
Exactly. Etsy's great. Search broadly first, like women's t-shirts, then filter by top customer reviews. That shows you the successful shops and designs pretty quickly.
And looking at what's popular helps us find those valuable sub-niches, those less crowded spots.
Precisely. Sub-niches are those little pockets within a bigger market, maybe lower competition, but still high demand. Researching successful listings helps you spot them. Like within women's t-shirts, maybe you find t-shirts for female hikers who love national parks. That's a sub-niche.
Okay. So how do we analyze these successful shops effectively? What are we looking for?
Look for shops with lots of reviews across many listings that shows consistent sales. Then, crucially, filter those reviews by most recent.
Why most recent?
That tells you what's selling right now, what designs are currently hot. The source gives an example. A t-shirt with 130+ reviews. That could mean like 1,300 sales.
Wow.
Yeah, and with maybe a 30% margin, that single design could potentially bring in, $13,000 profit? It shows the power of hitting the right note with a design.
But we absolutely cannot just copy those successful designs directly.
Absolutely not. Huge no-no. Copyright infringement, shop closure, legal action. Bad news. Instead, the source talks about the cocktail approach.
The cocktail approach. I like that. Explain.
Okay, think like a bartender mixing a drink. You're not just pouring one existing drink into a new glass.
Right.
You take inspiration from multiple sources. Maybe you like the font from this popular shirt, the color scheme from that one, maybe a quote style or graphic element from another.
So you mix and match elements.
Exactly. You thoughtfully combine these different ingredients to create something new, unique, and yours. It's synthesizing ideas, not just replicating. Avoids direct copying.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So we've done research, gathered inspiration. How do beginners actually create the designs? What are the options?
Several ways depending on your skills, time, budget. First up, free tools like Canva.
Canva, yeah, heard of it. Easy to use.
Incredibly user-friendly, even total beginners can jump in. Combine text, graphics, images easily. The example used a funny woodworking quote from ChatGPT.
Okay.
And combined it with design elements inspired by successful Etsy woodworking shirts. And you can usually download with a transparent background, which is essential for shirts.
Very approachable. What else?
You can also buy pre-made templates or designs. A neat trick is using Google's reverse image search.
How does that work?
See a design style you like, upload the image to Google. It might lead you to marketplaces or designers selling similar original source files you can legally buy and use.
Interesting. Like finding the original artist for a style you admire.
Kind of, yeah. Then there's AI tools.
The robots are coming for design too.
Well, tools like Midjourney are getting really popular. It costs about $10 a month for commercial rights, but it can generate amazing, unique images from text prompts.
Like you just type what you want.
Pretty much. The example was butterflies in the style of silhouettes in a tornado pattern on a white background.
Whoa.
Then you get variations. You can upscale the good ones, remove the background using other tools. Lots of potential there.
Powerful stuff. And the final option is hiring someone.
Exactly. Professional designers on platforms like Artwork or Fiverr, good if you have a clear vision, but not the skills. The key is giving them a really specific brief.
Right. Tell them exactly what you want. So choosing depends on skills, time, money. Makes sense. Okay, designs are ready. Now we need someone to print and ship. Choosing the right POD supplier. Why is this so critical?
Oh, this choice impacts everything. Bad supplier, you get poor quality prints, lost packages, terrible customer service.
And that all reflects badly on your brand, even if it's not your fault directly.
Exactly. Unhappy customers, bad reviews. It can sink your business.
And the advice is clear. Don't just go for the absolute cheapest option you find.
Definitely not. That old saying, buy nice or buy twice. Very true here. Super low prices usually mean corners are being cut somewhere. Quality service.
And that ends up costing you more in refunds and lost reputation.
Precisely. Might seem cheaper up front, but it's often a false economy.
Now, a big plus for most POD sites is how they charge, right? No big upfront fee.
That's a huge advantage. Most only charge you after you make a sale. So you don't need a pile of cash just to get started listing products. It keeps that barrier to entry really low.
And our source specifically mentioned a good experience with a company called Gelato.
Yes, Gelato got positive mentions for a smooth experience, good product quality, good print quality. The poster example sounded impressive.
And they have a global network. That sounds useful.
Yeah, that's a big plus. Production in over 30 countries means faster, often cheaper shipping because things are printed closer to the customer. Big advantage.
And using their site to pick a product, like a t-shirt, and upload a design, is that easy?
Seems very user-friendly, yeah. The example showed picking a heavyweight unisex crewneck tee, popular choice, slightly cheaper than premium options, good for margins. Simple catalog navigation.
And for actually printing the design, what method's best for beginners? DTG.
Yeah, direct-to-garment DTG is usually the way to go initially. Embroidery looks great, feels premium.
But it's pricier.
Generally, yes. And it suits specific types of designs better. DTG is more versatile for complex graphics, lots of colors, and smaller print runs, which is what you'll be doing at first. No big setup costs like screen printing.
And uploading the design file itself is just drag and drop.
Typically, yes. Platforms like Gelato make it easy. Upload your file, use their tools to position it on the shirt front, back, sleeve, whatever you need. Pretty straightforward.
Cool. And there was even a discount mentioned for Gelato.
Yeah, a link dal.com for 50% off your first order. Full disclosure, the source creator might get a small kickback, help support their work.
Good to know. All right, so winning product, clothing, great designs ready, good potential supplier like Gelato lined up.
Yeah.
Now, where do we actually sell this stuff? The big Etsy versus Shopify question.
It is the big one, and the source makes a good point. It's not always a simple either-or answer. Both Etsy and Shopify have their pros and cons.
Let's break down Etsy first. What are the big wins there?
Etsy's massive advantage is traffic, built-in traffic. They had something like 46.6 million visitors in 1 month back in early 2023.
Wow, that's a lot of eyeballs.
Huge. It means potential customers are already there, actively searching for unique stuff, things that fit well with POD products. Plus, it's global. Lots of international sales happen on Etsy.
So that built-in traffic is gold, especially when
Mhm.
you're starting out, right? Saves on marketing costs initially.
Exactly. People are already browsing. You can potentially make sales without spending big on ads right away. Your focus can be more on optimizing your listings within Etsy itself.
But it can't be all sunshine and rainbows on Etsy. What are the downsides? The challenges?
Well, the reality is a lot of new sellers do fail on Etsy. It's competitive.
How competitive?
Millions of active sellers. And while the average monthly sales figure looks okay, it's skewed by the really big successful shops. Plus, your products are right there next to your competitors.
So direct comparison, pressure on pricing, maybe?
Can be, yeah. And another limitation. You can't legally build your own email list directly from Etsy customers. That hinders long-term marketing outside their platform.
Okay, so massive reach, but high competition and less customer data control. Now, Shopify, what's the deal there?
Shopify lets you build your own online store, your own website, total control over branding, look and feel, customer experience.
Your own turf.
Exactly. And crucially, you can legally collect customer emails during checkout. That's huge for building relationships and future marketing. Plus, no direct competitors displayed on the same page.
Sounds ideal for building a real brand, so why wouldn't everyone just start with Shopify? What's the catch?
The catch is traffic. With Shopify, you have to drive all the visitors to your store.
No built-in audience.
None. You need to actively market social media ads, SEO, content, influencers, whatever it takes. That costs time and usually money.
Okay, so weighing the pros and cons. What's the recommended path for beginners?
The strong recommendation from the source is start on Etsy.
Start on Etsy. Why?
Because that existing customer base takes the initial marketing burden off your shoulders. You can focus purely on getting your designs right, figuring out what sells, learning the ropes.
Use Etsy to learn and validate.
Exactly. The competition, while tough, forces you to get better, find niches, and integrating suppliers like Gelato is usually pretty seamless.
But Shopify is still the long-term aim for serious growth.
Definitely. Once you know what works, once you have winning products validated on Etsy, Shopify gives you the control you need to scale, build that brand, own your customer data.
So Etsy is like the testing ground.
Think of it that way. The source even suggests aiming to list maybe 1,000 products on Etsy. The listing fees are low, maybe $200 total. That gives you a ton of data on what works before you invest big in a Shopify store and marketing.
Smart. And if something sold well on Etsy but bombs on your Shopify store?
Then you know the problem is likely your marketing, not the product itself. It isolates the variable.
That's a really logical, low-risk way to approach it. Now, for those starting on Etsy, any specific tips, hacks to stand out?
Yep. 3 key things. First, use really attractive mock-ups.
Mock-ups, like showing the t-shirt on a model or in a cool setting.
Exactly. People need to visualize it. Good mock-ups make a huge difference. Gelato and others have built-in tools for this, so it's easier than ever. No need for your own photo shoots right away.
Good tip. What's number 2 for Etsy success?
Keywords. Keywords are king on Etsy. It's basically a search engine. You need the right words and phrases in your titles, tags, descriptions, the terms actual customers are searching for. Look at successful competitor listings in your niche for ideas. Don't just copy, but see what terms they're using.
Gather keyword intelligence. Got it. And the third Etsy tip.
Focus on premium branding. Convey quality, trust. Don't look like a cheap, thrown-together stall.
How do you do that?
Think about your shop name use tools like Shopify's name generator, check availability, have a clean, professional logo and banner. Even on Etsy, where handmade charm works, keep it coherent. Don't sell random, unrelated stuff in the same shop. Build a focused brand image.
Okay, great mock-ups, smart keywords, premium branding, really actionable stuff for Etsy. Let's talk about getting sales now. Paid ads, when should you pull the trigger on those?
The advice is, don't rush into paid ads too early. Wait until you have proven products.
Proven how? Through organic sales.
Exactly. Focus on organic reach first. Optimize your listings, maybe try free marketing like social media. See what catches on naturally.
And short-form video is a good way to do that. TikTok, Reels, Shorts.
Huge potential there. Create engaging videos showcasing your products, maybe the story behind them, the quality, not just static images. Tell a story.
So test organically, see what works, then maybe put ad money behind the winners.
That's the smarter play. Build on what's already resonating. Relying only on paid ads from day one is risky anyway. Ad accounts can get shut down, costs fluctuate.
Good point. Now, let's hit a critical financial mistake people make. What's the big one?
Focusing way too much on revenue and not enough on profit margins.
The vanity metric versus the sanity metric.
Exactly. It's easy to get excited by big sales numbers, but you can have high revenue and still be losing money if your margins are too thin. Protecting your profit margin is everything for long-term survival.
And there's that anecdote about the eBay competitor, obsessed with being the cheapest.
Yeah, great story. Competitor kept undercutting on price, probably making pennies per sale. The source focused on maintaining a healthy margin, maybe 30%, even if prices were a bit higher.
And ended up more profitable in the long run.
That was the implication. Selling less but making more on each sale is often a much healthier business model.
Makes sense. And speaking of costs, Etsy fees need careful calculation, right?
Definitely. Don't forget them. There's the 6.5% transaction fee on the total price, including shipping,
Okay.
plus a payment processing fee, usually around 3%, plus a small fixed bit. And that sneaky 15% off-site ad fee.
So what now?
If someone clicks an Etsy ad for your product on another website, like Google, and then buys, Etsy might take a 15% cut. You can opt out below a certain sales threshold, but you need to know about it and factor it in.
Wow, okay. Lots of fees to track. And one final cost, often ignored.
Your time. Your time has value.
So true.
You need to periodically calculate your effective hourly wage from this side hustle. Divide your total profit by the hours you've put in. Is it actually worth your time? That's a crucial reality check.
Really important perspective. Okay, this has been incredibly practical. Let's tackle the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Is print on demand just too saturated? Is it too late to get in?
Yeah, it's the big question. And the source directly addresses a comment they got, basically saying, POD is saturated, it's a false solution.
And the response.
Well, first, total agreement that it's not get rich quick. It takes hard work, time, effort, like any real business.
Okay, manages expectations, but disagrees on saturation.
Strongly disagrees. The argument is, all markets are competitive. Success anywhere means being better, different, finding your niche.
So competition isn't the same as saturation.
Not necessarily. The POD market is still growing significantly. The view offered is that people claiming saturation maybe haven't put in the right effort, done the research, found their unique angle yet.
So persistence is key, pushing through that initial slow period.
Absolutely. You probably won't see sales immediately. You need to stick with it, keep learning, keep refining. That 1,000 listings idea comes up again.
Right, don't declare it dead before you've really tried.
Exactly. Saying the market's saturated before you've even listed, say, 1,000 diverse items and gathered data, it's probably premature. Saying side hustles are dead is like saying business is dead. It just doesn't track.
So definitely requires work, not magic, but the opportunity is still there for those willing to put in the effort.
That's the message. Very much alive and well.
All right, let's wrap this up. What are the absolute key takeaways for listeners from this deep dive on starting with print on demand?
Okay, number one. POD is a great low-risk way into e-commerce, but it's not magic. Success needs strategy.
Strategy in what areas?
Careful product selection, creating designs people actually want for a specific audience, choosing a reliable supplier, picking the right place to sell, starting with Etsy is recommended for beginners.
Right, test the waters there.
Smart marketing that starts organic, and maybe most importantly, a relentless focus on profit margins, not just revenue. Know your numbers.
And do your homework. Research what's working, but then add your own spin, that cocktail approach.
Exactly. Learn from success, but then synthesize, create something unique that respects IP and connects with your specific niche.
So a final thought for everyone listening. What unique interests or passions do you have? Could you tap into those to create designs for a specific sub-niche?
The low barrier to entry with print on demand means you can actually test those ideas in the real world with very little financial risk. It really comes down to finding your people and making stuff they'll genuinely love.